Walter and Lori Hoye, my dear, dear friends, thank you so much for inviting me to be a part of your event today. Although I can't be with you personally, I trust that the video you're about to watch explains to your guests my experience with Planned Parenthood as a board member from 1975 to 1980. I know your event will be a great success. God bless.
We interrupt this broadcast to bring you this important bulletin from the United Press.
I hear a cry as of a woman in labor, a groan as of one bearing her first child, the cry of the daughter of Zion gasping for breath, stretching out her hands and saying, "Alas, I am fainting. My life is given over to murderers." Jeremiah 4:31. Well, my story is this. I served on the board of Planned Parenthood New York City from 1975 to 1980 as a volunteer. As a pastor's daughter raised in the church, I knew little about abortion. Abortion had indeed become legal nationally in 1973. And so in 1975, when I was asked to be a part of the board, I thought this is a wonderful way for me to volunteer and help the women in my community. This is a great way to give back. I remember walking into the first board meeting, and I was filled with anticipation. I was so excited to be there, and I took the bus from my job at the magazine where I worked and took it over to the Margaret Sanger Center. When I got off the bus, I noticed people getting out of chauffeured limousines, and these people were going up to the boardroom. I walked into the boardroom, and I was the youngest person on the board of about 20 people, mostly men, well-to-do men and women, and I was the only African-American woman on the board. Well, we were given documents to read, and these documents focused on population control, and they talked about the resources that were being used, that the air, the water, the land, that the increasing population was depleting these natural resources, and we had to control the population. And whenever they said that, whenever I read these documents, I thought, which population are they trying to control? And the boomerang often came back to me. And then I would ask myself, why is abortion more necessary for us? These people were passionate about making sure that we had the right to safe and legal abortion. And I thought, well, what about housing and jobs and schools? I would go up to the boardroom and I would walk past the Margaret Sanger Clinic and I would look in and see young Hispanic and African American women there. And I would wonder how we could really help them. What could I do? Well, I became a trained speaker to go into the schools and talk about say no, how to say no. And I would tell them how to keep the sperm from meeting the egg. And this training was unique because I learned the subtle use of language, that we never call a boy a father, never call a girl a mother, always call a young boy, no matter how young he is, a man, and always call a young girl, no matter how young she is, a woman. Never use the word fetus because it's a living term. Never use embryo. Use mass of tissue. Use the words contents of the uterus. Well, I didn't focus on abortion in my talks. My talks were how to keep the sperm from meeting the egg, say no. But this is the part that I want to tell you in the limited time I have. For every abortion that was performed while I was on the board, a death certificate had to be issued by the Department of Health. A death certificate. In college, we debated when is the fetus viable, when can it exist on its own, and is abortion really murder? But a death certificate is only required when someone dies. Once I read about how abortions were performed, I said to the board members, I went back, I had no idea about the details of these abortions. The papers were very explicit about the saline and the D&E. And I read this and I was horrified. I went back to the board meeting and I said, this is traumatic for the mother and the baby. Right. And this woman sitting across from me said, it is not traumatic. And her icy stare gave me a chill. And I sat there and I said, oh my God, what am I doing? This is DEF's directors. I have got to get off this board. God is going to hold me accountable. What am I going to do? And I decided to stay on the board, to be a thorn in their side. I was the one vote. It was a no vote. It was a lone no vote. And I did dissertation research for the Right to Life movement and been involved ever since. Started Black Californians for Life in 1980 when I relocated to California. We have a crisis pregnancy center that saves hundreds, thousands of babies' lives. And today, I'll just end with this. Today, for the first time, I saw a video of an abortion being performed. I thought I had seen everything until I saw that baby's little hands and the little feet ripped out of the cervix of that mother. This is murder. It must end. We are not a population that needs to be controlled. We must control ourselves. If we don't walk into Planned Parenthood, they cannot kill our babies. If we stop having sex outside of marriage, if we obey God's word, if we live holy, if we teach our children to live